Ladies and gentlemen, we have an extra special guest on No Doubter this evening. She's the rising star of Astros Twitter, is taking the Twitterverse by storm. She's making a splash, winning the hearts of many, and routinely breaking the internet with her impeccable personality. Holly, thank you so much for joining the
You can call
show.
it that. You can call it
Yes,
that.
yes. Hey, that's what I attribute it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
All
so much for joining.
personality.
Yes, all yes, that's it.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Coming from the
Yeah.
gym, so sorry. Might look a little disheveled, but I'm here.
hmm That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Holly. I followed you. I've been following you on Twitter for a while. I've been a fan of your
Mhm.
content. I've been following you since last year, since the Astros made the deep postseason run. Your baseball IQ is on point. You obviously know what you're talking about. You know the sport, but
Mhm.
it's from an outsider's perspective. It just seems like, as of very recent, your Twitter account has just absolutely blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can say that.
yeah. Just how has that experience been for you?
It's honestly crazy because I mean, if you've been following me for a while,
Yeah,
I don't really hold back that
yeah.
much. So the first, I guess, kind of big jump in followers was I got
Yeah.
retweeted by that Astros girl. You know who
Oh,
that
yeah.
is, Sherry? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of followers then, and
Mhm.
then I'm sure you know. I'm sure you. So someone said orange was a gross color to wear, so I just had
How
to
dare
prove that
they?
wrong. How dare they say that? Yeah.
I
So that was
know.
actually like a joke. That's is a Yankee person that I follow that I was a good friend of mine, and
Yeah.
it was actually a joke. And
Yeah.
yeah, then I guess some people liked orange. I don't know. I don't
Hey,
know.
I mean, bias. Us people down in Houston. There's the burnt orange, which that's a whole different situation. But then there's the correct
Yeah.
orange.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta rep the.
I'm not sure if that was the correct orange, but
Hey,
I got my point. I think
you
got my point
did.
across.
You sure did. You did. You did get your point across, and just people are just now realizing just how awesome you are. And
Oh, that's so
yeah,
nice.
I'm happy for them. And as of recent, Holly, you've just been doing something that's truly admirable. You're playing Oprah. You're giving strangers Astros tickets. You're
I know.
like,
You get a
you get a
card. You
ticket.
get a ticket. Yes.
You get a ticket. You get a ticket. And
Yeah.
then, as of very recent, just you're just inspiring so many people way beyond your sphere. You're engaging in the hashtag clear the list and just
Mhm.
giving the essential teachers who are just the most wonderful people in our society. You're helping them out tangibly. Just what is driving you to do that?
Um, so okay, I'll start with the tickets. I know a lot of people don't get the experience of going to an Astros game.
Yeah.
I am very fortunate to be, I've been to so many games.
Mm-hmm.
2019 was truly disappointing, so I went to every home game and we lost
Uh,
every single one of them. But you
wow.
just don't really understand or get the experience unless you're there. Like I'm sure you've been there when Jordan hits a home run. It's like no other. It's like a bomb goes off. And if you're
Yeah.
watching it on TV, you truly can't get that experience. And so it kind of started out where I just wanted, other people to have that experience. And I truly did. And then
Mm-hmm.
once I did it, then there was more people that were like, "Oh, I've never been to a game," or there was somebody that lost their mom to COVID, and their dad
Wow.
was a veteran, and so things like that just have my mom calls me a bleeding heart. So when the more that I read, the more that I was like, you know what? Let me see what I can do. Let me see if I can give, another person or two people,
Mhm.
obviously, that experience to go to a game, to experience a game. Because, like I said, there's nothing like going to an Astros game and
Oh, yeah.
feeling that electricity. I mean, probably my favorite game. Some people are going to say it's Game 5, right? Game 5, 2017. But mine
Okay.
was Game 6. Mine was Game 6, New York, when Justin
Mm.
Verlander was throwing, and I had my son there with me, and
Yeah.
just I don't know if you remember the pitch that the curve that made Frazier look silly, and it was just nothing was happening for a while. And we're just like on pins and needle, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
so it's just that electricity. You just can't, you can't experience that at home. I'm sorry. Like, yes, you get excited. I was at home when Altuve hit the walk off of Chapman. I ran around and I busted. I fell.
I was at that game.
Were you? Oh my
Yes.
God, I can't. Oh, I'm so
Pandemonium.
jealous. Like we were
I know.
supposed to go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember like being so upset, right? Because they tied the game
Yeah.
up. And I'm a very emotional person. Like I'm
Oh,
very
yeah.
competitive. I play sports. So I was just like, and you've seen my Twitter. I have a
Yeah.
sailor's mouth sometimes. I was like, oh, God, dang it, you know? And then when he hit that, it was just, I was like, I would do anything to be there, you know? So
Oh, man.
luckily I was able to, you know, I know that it wasn't a play, but it was kind of a playoff experience. That Yankees game was awesome. Where I was
Yeah.
sitting, Dusty fist bumped me, which was
Oh,
so
so awesome.
amazing. That was
That's
so
awesome.
amazing. I was like, I'm never like washing his hand. And then, like 3 or 4 people that I got tickets for, which, if I'm gonna get you tickets, I'm gonna get you good tickets. Like
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna be sitting dugout. I'm not gonna get, like that's fine. If you want to, I wanted them to truly experience. So like it was just one after the other. It was coming up, and I just was like, this is so awesome. These
Yeah.
people truly appreciate, like, Houston people are amazing. They truly appreciated it.
Yeah.
And so that's the ticket thing. And then when it came to the teachers list, like I really was just planning on I said, if you are a teacher that follows me, if I can clear your list, DM me. And this is the sad part about it, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. Right now, probably have 600 DMs from teachers.
Wow.
And
It's insane.
it's sad. It's sad. Like we live in a country with so much, wealth, and teachers have to ask people, strangers, for just basic like supplies. So I started to clear them, and then my heart was like, more people were tugging, and I said, um, I'm gonna commit $10,000. So let's go
Wow.
down and let's just do this, right?
That's insane.
So
Wow.
and I just, but what kills me is I can't help them all, right? I can't
Yeah.
help them all. So that's I retreated. There's other people that stepped up. But and then there's teachers that are crying because they're getting supplies for their students.
Yeah. It
I
just
don't know how
it
you feel about that, but it makes me sad. It makes me sad. I
yeah.
don't deserve the credit. They deserve the credit, you know?
Yeah.
Like teachers deserve the credit. And there's people like, "Oh, well, how do you know that these teachers are like uh, you're not getting scammed?" Look at the list. No one's scamming you for markers and crayons and things like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Say there's a couple. I don't care.
Mhm.
Most of them were just so thankful, so thankful. So
Mhm.
if anyone can do that, if anyone can find a list and do that for somebody, like to me, you get so much more out of giving than you do taking. So it just kills me. I can't help them all. I mean, I hit 10,000. I wanted to go more, and um, actually, my credit card company called me, was like,
Oh,
"Is this
wow.
you? Like, you have spent whatever." I was like, "Hey, let me do my thing. It's cool."
Hey, it's all
Yeah,
good.
it's all good. Yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
so I mean, of
Yeah.
course, like you get followers through that, you in different ways, but it's truly been awesome. And but like I said, I hope people that know when they follow me that when it comes to sports or whatever, you're gonna hear some. You
Yeah.
might hear some things you don't want to hear. So I don't
Hey.
want to come off as some kind of saint or anything. Like I'm. I get really into the games. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure
hard.
did you I can't believe that you were at that game. I'm so jealous. Like so
Oh
jealous. Was it just
yeah,
incredible?
yeah. So I live in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Much to my dismay, I grew up in Houston. 19 years of my life in H Town, so of course I'm
Okay.
gonna rep the H. Um,
I'm from Winnie, Texas.
that's near Beaumont, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Winnie,
It's
Texas.
Winnie,
Wow.
Texas.
That's a funny
Yeah.
little name for a town.
It is.
Yeah. So, my boss had gotten me tickets to game because this is game 6 of
Mhm.
the ALCS. At
Mhm.
the time, we didn't know if there was going to be a game 6. They had
Right.
played in New York,
Mhm.
and I drive down that Friday night and surprise my dad, and we watched the game in New
Oh,
York.
wow.
And we're watching, and I'm hoping that the Astros lose because if they lose, it means they're playing Saturday.
Yeah.
We get to see them. If they win, they
Right.
move on, and
Right.
that's awesome if they move on to the
Yeah.
World Series. But they ended up losing, and as the second the game ended, I'm like, Dad, I got good news and bad news. The bad news is the Astros lost, but the good news is you are going with me to the
Oh.
game, and the game's epic. I mean,
This
we all know what
so
happened.
you get it. Like it's this experience that it's like it's a time where this is maybe cliche, like where no matter if you're liberal, conservative, country,
Hmm.
everyone comes together. Everyone's high five.
Yes.
It's just amazing. So you have to tell me like when that was it surreal? Where you just like
Oh yeah.
can't believe that just happened?
And being there, it beats the heck out of seeing it on TV for sure. Some of the things that I've noticed was, man, when DJ LeMahieu hit that home run, he kept fouling, 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 fouling. That guy's one of the best push hitters in the game. I
Mm,
swear. Time after time
yeah.
again, he hits balls the opposite direction. And when he
Hmm.
tied that up, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So then Chapman started warming up. I kid you
Hmm.
not, in the seventh. I mean, that guy was getting super, super, super sweaty and super hot. And
Oh,
he comes
okay.
in, he strikes out Reddick,
Hmm.
and I think he strikes out Maldonado. So I'm like, that's great. But then the leadoff Springer comes
Springer.
up.
Well,
I missed that
he
guy.
couldn't locate his fastball. And that's
So
what,
yes,
yeah,
he
that was the
obviously
problem.
he was good through 2, but not through
Hmm.
3. So he
Right.
walks Springer, and when Altuve comes up, he's still not able to do it. And you just can't throw 2 consecutive off-speed pitches on the outside to Altuve.
Did you happen to see like Altuve when he watches all the way, he saw that slider, he could, and
Yes.
that's this like when this bothers, I was like, no, dude, like he watched it and then it almost
Yeah.
like he said to himself, I'm sitting slider, which I mean, even Correa was like, dude set slider, you know, which just tells you how amazing he is. But
Yes. And so
so where were you sitting at?
I was sitting along the first base line. I was
Oh,
like
perfect.
along the first base line, maybe like 20 rows back, but I was closer to the foul pole than I was to the dugout, but I was on that side.
Did you
So
know as soon as he hit it?
well, here's the thing. When the ball left, it kind
Hmm.
of got lost in the background of the stucco background. So I lost the
Hmm.
location of the ball, but I knew it was going deep.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so when you lose the location of the ball, you look to the outfielder, and I looked to Brett Gardner, and I'm like, "What is he doing?" And he
Right.
looked up, and as soon as he's like, oh, when he when he hung his head, I knew. I'm like, and then for like what felt like a whole minute, I'm like, "There's no way I just saw that.
Right.
There's no way I just witnessed that live. It would just be too perfect." And it finally sunk in, and I'm like, "I did just see that."
Right.
It's
And I
just-
mean, I'm sure everybody around you was just,
Jose, 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 Jose,
oh,
the
so
chance.
amazing.
Yeah, but even if someone can experience half of that, just like you
Right.
said, Air Jordan,
Mm,
when that once in a blue moon when Molly goes yard.
yeah. Well, and
Y-
Jordan hit that like against the Yankees, like it really does sound like a bomb went off, and I was like, because where I was sitting, I was really, really close, like row 9, section 124, so like right there.
oh yeah.
Um, and as soon as well, we were just like, and then Bregman, like, because he's been up and
Braggy.
down. He's been up and down. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, Breggy's back. And then the game, we're like, no, he's not. We're like, yeah, he's back. But
Yes.
I love Bregman. I met Bregman at a Lululemon one time on Christmas Eve, and he was buying,
Wow.
yes, he was just buying so many gift cards. He was talking to everyone, and I
Man.
was like, he was wearing a mask, I was like, that's freaking Alex Bregman. So I was like,
Yes, yes.
and I used to sit next to his parents when I had those season tickets, and they're so nice. And I was just
That's
like,
awesome. Yeah.
that's kind of how I broke the ice. He's like, I sit next to your parent. He's like, oh, I feel sorry for you. He's so nice. But the best, I don't know if you know this, but I got like when Correa was with us last year, I went to the Dodgers game in Anaheim. Yeah,
Wow.
in LA. Sorry, in LA. Um, and I was smart enough to sit Astros dugout side on the first row.
Yes. There
Okay.
you go.
I
That's how
don't know
you
if
do
you've
it.
ever been there. It's a beautiful stadium. Like it's
Dodger
gorgeous. I mean,
Stadium.
you just
Yeah.
look, it's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
So now when we walk in, of course, there's people who are just like, "Ah," but once you start talking to them, that's fine. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit because I knew this is first game and it's going to be incredibly hostile. And I don't know if you remember this. Lance McCullers pitched a gem for the
Oh
game.
yes.
He was
Oh
just
yes.
mowing people down.
Yes.
And the people, the guy and his daughter were sitting behind me, and it's I was wearing this bracelet I love, but she's like, oh man, I really like a bracelet. I was like, here, gave it to her. She's like, so Astros fans are not so bad out. And she's like talking to her
What?
dad. Yeah, they're not so bad. Like the people around us are really cool. But before the game, Correa comes out and he's rounding the bases, like just, before the game, and people are just, boo, you suck. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. And he
Yeah.
doesn't give up. So he sees me because we're the only ones in orange, right? And he looks at me and he goes, hey, you want a picture? And I was like, oh my God, yes. So I like start running over and I knock over this girl's food, which is, where you sit, that's free. But I was like, I'm sorry. I don't care. I run, went next to him, took a selfie. I posted it on Twitter. I had like 3,000. And he goes, thanks for being here. And I was like, that is the coolest
That's
thing.
insane.
Like, what a great person, and then once the Astros, they see us, right? And they're like fist pumping. They know we're risking our lives, right? Like, and I remember
Yeah.
I had to go to the restroom so bad. And I'm like, this is gonna be bad, So
Yes.
I'm walking over with my son and his friend, and we start walking at the thing, and people are just, what are you wearing? And you would think
Wow.
my son would be like, and his friend would be like, oh God, they loved it. They're
Oh
like, this is
yeah.
awesome,
Yes. Bring
Yeah,
it on.
yeah. So that's probably my second favorite game, to be honest with you, because once you
Yeah.
start talking to those fans, I mean, I know that they get in fights, but they were gonna fight a girl with her with her
For their kids.
kid
Yeah.
and a friend, and I was like, and my son was making fun. He's like, you're being so over, like, oh, you didn't do it. I'm like, it's not me. I didn't cheat. Don't be mad at me. But
Oh,
yeah, that was probably top three life experience. It's amazing. It was
oh
amazing. What a,
yeah.
you
It's
know,
just that's awesome. It's just and that's what these moments can create.
yeah,
We can kind of forget about what divides us, and we can be unified behind a team. And
yeah. I mean, we are
it's power of
so
sports. Yeah.
it sometimes it's irritating, right? Because we're so spoiled as Houston
Oh yeah.
Astros fans. We are so
Yes.
spoiled.
Yes.
Um, which it frustrates me at times. It's like, I know we just dropped 3 to
The
Oakland, but
A's.
as an athlete, and I think anyone that's played sports, you get all hyped up for like these big games, right? And then you kind
Mm-hmm.
of just sit back, like you're like it's the A's, but they forget you just won, you just beat New York twice. You go to Seattle and, they're almost getting as hostile as Yankees are and beat them. So you kind of expect, it's like, dude, you're in first place by taking it, like, and they're just like, replace this guy, this guy, you know,
Replace them
like
all.
I won't ever understand the Maldi hate. It blows my mind. I'm like, if you know any pitcher, look at their average. There's a lot of them that aren't, and he's seeing the ball really well right now. So it's like, I, it's just we're spoiled. We're
We are
spoiled rotten. I'm
five
like,
straight ALCSs,
I
baby.
mean, that's insane. That's a dynasty, right?
It's
That's a,
seriously, yeah.
and I think I tweeted about that, about, that starts from the bottom up. Like it starts from the
Yeah.
scouting to, like, I mean, Dusty coming in after, the whole cheating thing, and people don't give him enough credit.
Oh yeah.
Like they just don't. They're like, oh, he rests. I'm like, he gets it. He's a player's coach, right? And yeah, I miss Hinch, I mean,
Yeah.
miss Luna, all
Hmm.
that, but I mean, the fact that we were able to still be, I mean, you just hope it doesn't end, that eventually these guys get older, like, and that's going to be sad. So I'm just like, enjoy this, because
Yeah.
Houston
They,
doesn't have a lot to
no.
we don't have a lot of winning organizations here.
Well, we don't. The Rockets won
Mhm.
back-to-back championships in the 90s.
Right.
Um, uh,
The
and
love
but
one.
what's special about the World Series, now I know it's tainted, but just putting that to the side for a second,
Hmm.
we won that in a year where our city was decimated by Hurricane Harvey,
Oh, absolutely.
and it brought the city together in a very tangible
That's what I
way.
think that a lot of people don't understand is like, oh, like about us hanging with them. There's a lot of boredom in baseball. That's what people don't understand. There's a lot of boredom. And if you think someone else is doing something, you think, and let's get real, other people are doing things that it's just because of the Astros, because they won, right? You have more people looking at you. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying what they
Hmm.
did was right, but there's a lot of boredom, and I can see it. Where the, hey, let's, you take a inch and okay, that worked. And it even proves like some people, the people that use it the most were our weakest hitters. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it wasn't dumb. Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, it brought. I mean, we needed that. We needed that. Everybody around here that I live around, I live in Memorial. I would
Hmm.
say 90% was either damaged or lost, and
Yeah.
you know,
I know, and
and
and if you don't have flood insurance, you're pretty screwed over. The house that I spent the second half of my childhood got flooded in. My parents and sister had to be evacuated from the house because it was
yeah.
taking on water. And I mean, I
Hmm.
was living in Austin at the time, but yeah, so my family was personally affected and very fresh off that wound, we win our first ever World Series.
Hmm.
So while it is tainted, the
Hmm.
memories are
Are
not.
there? Are there?
They are
Yeah, and
forever
they were
there.
talented. They didn't need to do it all that. I mean, none of us, I don't think any Astros fans are like, oh yay, we're glad that no, like
No.
we had to hear it for years. But then you start getting a chip on your shoulder. You're in there like, dude, we're good. You have to hand it to us good. And I mean, I guess Bellinger must have been doing something himself, right?
Yes, he's falling off a
Like,
cliff.
I mean, were you doing something? I mean, come on, like, I
Yeah.
don't know. No,
He
like the ones that were like truly outspoken, you're just kind of like,
it's always those guys.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right,
it's just
right.
yeah, so having live access to the center field camera, it was an arms race. People were doing it, and it probably happened where Carlos Beltran comes in. It's like, look, other teams are doing
Mm-hmm.
this. We either
Mm-hmm.
don't do it and have an unfair advantage, or we do it. You can say the Astro system was more effective. It was more instantaneous. The Yankees and
Mm-hmm.
the Red Sox did do it to another degree. We had on Tony Adams on several months ago who made that website,
Mm-hmm.
signstealingscandal.com, if you're aware of that, where it
Mm-mm.
documents all the
Mm-hmm.
times you do it. So
Yeah.
it is inconclusive that it was the reason why we won. But you can't prove it one way or the other. That's the thing, though.
Right.
But it was not 100% effective. There were times where it was very effective, but then
Right.
there were times where it backfired. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think there's such a code of secrecy in baseball. So I think teams, they're not going to rat us out, but I think they just started changing their signs like every, pitch or, every batter. And so then the
Yeah.
Astros are like, they keep changing their signs. The system's not working.
Right.
We're not
Right.
going to use it anymore. And then they have PitchCom, which is cool because you just press the buttons.
Right. Well, and let's not forget that Boston got in trouble before. Yes, and they keep saying like, well, that was after, there was this letter sent. Well, the letter was sent because they were doing it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so
Hmm.
if you have, there's a, if people are assuming that you're doing something like that, yeah, I can see where, okay, well, if they're doing it, we're doing it. But I mean, I don't think any of us are proud or like,
No.
yeah, that was hard, but half the team is, but what really makes me laugh is once they get like a Springer, once they get Correa, once they get
Oh.
Marwin Gonzalez, it's,
Marvin
and then they boo the
Gonzalez.
one guy that didn't use it. But like, I always tell my son, that if you have haters, it means you're somebody, you know,
Yes.
it means you're somebody.
Yes, I got Altuve's autograph with my when I had my 3-month-old son who was a people magnet, and we were sitting front row, Globe Life Park. This was like the last year it was
Mhm.
around before they moved to Globe Life Field, and it's just the hate for that guy. It proves to me that people they don't care about facts. They
Mm-mm.
literally don't, and
No.
I hope he gets vindicated. And
You're already starting to see,
yeah,
you know, uh, there's a couple of Yankees accounts that I really love to follow, and people that really know baseball, they they're like, stop booing Altuve. This is
yeah.
this
This
is
is
just
it's dumb. Even if he did participate in it, it's clearly not working. We're the
yeah.
bane of their
And the
existence.
person listening to the Banks, he didn't even like it, but he, out of all people, Altuve is not gonna rat anybody out, like
Yeah.
he's he's not going to do that. And let's be clear, like, Fires got blown up by the Astros, and when he pitched, I was at that game when they were just, and he got salty, you know.
Yeah, we never would have known if he didn't never blew the whistle. Ultimately, I'm glad it was discovered. I just
Yeah,
wish we
because it probably would have went down
yeah,
even
you
further down a
know,
rabbit hole.
I know. I just wish we weren't scapegoated as much. I mean,
Right.
we were breaking the rules. It's a good rule to have. You're not using electronic equipment to steal signs. You can do it with the
Hmm.
naked eye all you want,
Right.
but it's definitely it's a good rule. So I'm not saying that. And they broke the rules, and so it is cheating. So it is bad, and I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. But the
Hmm.
context is everything. That is the key. So, but no, yeah. So I want to kind of go back. It seems like
Hmm.
you're an avid fan of baseball. How did you
Hmm.
become a fan of baseball?
I've played sports my entire life. Like,
Wow.
yeah, like, our basketball team is really good. Went to state, tournament
Nice.
twice. Ran track, volleyball, cheerleading, whatever. We did not have softball, but
Okay.
growing up, our parents every once in a while, because we'd be in a wedding, we'd go to Astros games, and um, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was like, it's kind of boring, like, but I love like card game. I love poker. I love
Yes.
strategic games, like chess
Yes.
games, things like that. And once I started to really get it, and understand the chess match of it, understand how hard it was, understand that the pitcher is, like, they're not just throwing fast, right? Like, you're just like, oh, they're just throwing a ball. Like, no, they
Yeah.
they legit are watching your swing, or you know, you get, same thing. Like, I tell my son, like, you got to attack the first ball, because if you get 0-2, you're gonna get some filthy curveball.
Oh
You're gonna get some
yeah.
slide or whatever. And he bats 3-hole, and he sees so many curveballs, right? If you're three
Yeah.
hole, you're gonna see a lot of curve. So we like to go and we like to guess what the pitch, we're like, what do you think this is gonna pitch or whatever. So I just started getting into it that way. Um, and what really turned me on, I don't, you probably remember this. It was the Yankees Boston. Yankees were up 3-0,
Hmm.
and really started. I was like, this is awesome. And then Boston came back and won. I was like,
Yeah.
I love baseball. Like, and so
That's awesome.
I just started, and then obviously Astros went through, a terrible time. We couldn't even name that many people on the team. We'd go to the games and we'd just be like, just get smoked. But it was fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think is funny when people say bandwagon. I'm like, people like winners, okay? Like, who cares if you're a
Yeah.
bandwagon or whatever? I'm not. You're gonna have more people, right? If you're winning games, because it's more fun.
Yes.
Um, and so around when was the Royal Series where we were
Mm.
was that in 2000 and was that 15?
Because the Royals made the World Series back to back, and they won in
Yes.
15 after beating us.
Yes, that was 15. Okay, so
Yes.
started going to went to like
Hinch,
pretty much a
first
lot.
year.
Yes,
Yeah.
started going to playoff games. And just started really, yeah, just got really into it. And of course, since my son plays, um, and he enjoyed going to the game, another one of my best friends, we always go to the games together.
Yeah.
And it's only bad when we start losing because him and I start fighting. We're just like irritated with one another. But I just started
Uh,
falling in love with the game and the people. Like the people
yeah.
make it awesome. Like
Oh, yeah.
just like the environment and stuff. And I mean, how can you not want to get on this and experience, what's happening here? It's just
Exactly.
it's pretty awesome. I mean, and
Yeah.
again, I mean, you meet so on Twitter, there's so many smart people. There's a guy,
Mhm.
and I'm giving him a shout out. His name is Felix, and he is the most analytical person that he knows exactly what their war, with this, and he
Yeah.
teaches me so much. Now, I'm not going to say some of that I don't know as well as other people, but I can look at a swing. I can tell, we were talking about Myers, and I was like, oh, he's, his head is pulling out. I like doing that. I was, oh man, he's pulling his head out, or he's, uh, like opening up and stuff. So that I can learn, so that I can watch, if I'm seeing my son, I can say, hey, this is what you're doing. I don't tell him during the game, afterwards, like work on
Yeah.
things. So, because
Mhm.
that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a baseball player
Yeah.
where I'm not naive to be like, oh, MLB, but I think he would love, to play in college or something like that. He's 6'2", going to be a freshman at Memorial. So, um,
Yeah.
and this
I
summer,
w yeah, I went to
this
Stratford. So,
Oh, well, we wanted him to go to Stratford. He got into Stratford and he chose Memorial. We are just like, whatever. But
hey, it's a good school, so he'll be
yeah.
fine.
And Stratford has like block scheduling, so I was like, dude, are you sure you want to go? I
Blocks.
mean, he's a good athlete, but sometimes I'm like, the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I didn't say that.
Oh, man.
You
Tough
know what I
love.
mean? I'm like, because you don't like schoolwork, but because you were asking me about he made this 5-star national team, and
Yeah.
we've gone. There's been 3. He just got back from Alabama. We did Alabama,
Wow.
Stanford, and Alabama, and they finished. There was like a 200, and these are all top ranked team. But I think there
Wow.
was like 200, and they finished like 16 or 17, um, which is great. Like a couple teams they tie, things like that. But there are some kids that can play, like you're
Yeah.
just amazed at just their size for one. And then, just God, when people say baseball's dying, I'm like, you haven't been to these tournaments. Like
Oh,
there,
man.
it's not. I mean, I think that was one of the things that you were asking me about, like before, about what baseball can do to attract more people. I mean, I see tons of people at the game. Um, I don't know.
Is yeah,
I don't
I
know
mean, it's a
necessarily.
hobby joint, where you're at,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so
yeah. But
yeah,
I
so
mean, I just love. I even at those youth games are so fun just to watch and just to see like these kids that are 14, 15 years old throwing. I mean, 80, 83, 80. There's a kid that
wow.
hit 87
Wow,
as a
15.
freshman. Yeah, 15.
That's
So I mean, there
insane.
are, yeah. There's a couple kids that drove up to the game. I was like, you 15,
Oh,
they can have
man.
learner's permits, but anyway, I mean, there's some really, really good ball players out there. So,
Oh, yeah. The next Bryce Harper is amongst them. When Bryce Harper was 16, he might have been 16,
oh, that's why they have the
regardless.
Cooperstown rule. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Because he stayed the whole time. So now, because we went to Cooperstown, so now they make sure that you're only there with one team because he just he stayed the whole time. I don't know. Have you ever been
Yeah.
there? Have you ever been to Cooperstown?
No, it's on my list though, for sure.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love
Oh
it. It's
yeah.
awesome. And it's fun for the kids because at that age, the air's like they hit so many home runs because it's
Mm-hmm.
smaller and the air stands are just like there's some kids that will have like 7 or 8 home runs like you're during the tournament. But here and my son plays in a lot of wood bat tournaments too, so you don't
Oh,
really see,
nice.
yeah, you don't really see um
Them go
home
yard
runs
is
that much.
not.
Well, not at
Yeah.
this age because they're on the bigger field and
Uh-huh.
it's that adjustment or whatever. But there are some there are some really good ball players coming up for sure.
Yes, the next chosen one. But yes, if he does go to play college ball, and really, it doesn't have to be D1. I mean, you have
No,
players who get drafted at all levels, JUCO, D2, D3, whatever. But I know at least in the D1 level, they use the metal bats, and
yes,
they have like 1,200 OPSs.
right, right, right.
Yeah,
Well,
make
as
baseball
long
fun. Yeah.
sports like it's great for kids for numerous reasons, keeping out of trouble. Like he plays basketball too. I coach I coach his select 15U team.
Nice.
Yeah, people are
Yes.
always surprised by that.
Wow. Hey, I mean, you have experience, you know the game. So, I
Oh yeah,
mean, yeah. And it's good that he's doing multiple sports because that way he doesn't get injuries. If he
right.
just does one, let him do them all. I mean, you're only a kid and in the prime of your athletic prowess once
Oh,
in
I
your
tell him all
life.
the time. I'm like, soak up the next these 4 years, and the best to me are college.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, don't try to rush that stuff.
Don't do it, because then you'll be in your 30s and you'll go through a quarter life crisis.
Which
Yeah.
I do think 30s are your best years. I really do.
Well, I am 30, so I'm looking forward to entering my best
Just a
decade.
baby. Just a baby.
Oh, no, look at me. Yeah. So, yeah, you got to enjoy it no matter where you're at. But yeah, uh, I thought it was cool how you were talking about kind of taking your viewership of the game to the next level, because when I was watching baseball, I enjoyed it. I went to the Astrodome, which that
Mhm.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course Enron Field, very short lived. We
Mhm.
all know what happened there, which
Yeah.
eventually became Minute Maid Park. But I think people, when they watch baseball, they're not aware of the game within the game that's happening.
No.
They are sitting back and they're chilling and they're like, "Oh, what happened? Did he get a hit? Oh no, he
There's
struck out
people behind
again."
me that were like, they should take Altuve out of the game because he was over. I was like, you just turn around, and you're like,
You don't know baseball.
just eat your hot dog and just stop.
Just
Just stop.
yeah, and it's just but what's unfortunate is that just I think people, in order to appreciate the game, the I'm not saying you can enjoy the game however you want to enjoy the game. But there is a way to watch the game and truly know all those nuances, where I feel like when you first watch the game, you're not paying attention to that. You're just watching and you're waiting for something to happen. But
Right.
the game within the game is all right, it's the fifth inning. This starting pitcher, he's got 80 pitches. His pitch count's
Mhm.
pretty high. He's unable to locate his fastball. Oh, it's righty lefty, so the batter's got an edge. It's just like, and I feel like if people were to just go with someone and sit with them, it's like, how do you watch the game? What are you looking at? And I just wish more people had an opportunity to view it through that lens. And when they get a taste of that, then it's more poker. What you're saying,
It
it's
is.
not, it's not a
Like chess
simple
moves.
game. It
Mhm.
is like chess. It's not
It's
checkers. It's chess.
chess. Yeah, it's chess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
No,
it
that's you're so right.
mhm.
I don't think that you can truly appreciate it unless, but it is an intellectual game. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
sometimes you people just don't get it. Like
Mhm.
um, they don't understand 0-2. Oh, why didn't he go throw a strike? Why is he throwing, a slight like he's 0-2, he's trying to get a chase, right? Like they don't they don't necessarily get that, but that's okay. They're going the game enjoying it, but someone like me, I'm trying to figure out, okay, like is he, yeah, you're right. He's at say it's Luis Garcia, and he's do you let him have another batter, or do you bring in, and then you're like, okay, what reliever do I want? And obviously the answer, I'm always Stanek. Like
Stanek,
Stanek, if you're in
yeah.
a jam, I love Stanek. I'm like,
Oh
Stanek, please
yeah.
bring Stanek in. Now, Maton has looked good lately. Maton in the playoffs was incredible.
Oh yeah.
But there's
Montero's
certain
looking good.
relievers that start you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, oh yeah, it's lefty, all that. But I love that aspect of it. I mean,
Yes.
because that's that's why, like, sometimes I think Dusty deserves more credit because he's got such a feel for the game.
Hmm.
He like d- when we were playing the White Sox. I mean, he just totally outmatched Tony.
Oh
He
yeah.
just annihilated him on just the moves he made. And
The dinosaurs facing each other.
oh,
The
yeah.
old
I mean, I
school.
don't care if, and that's another thing, agent drives me. I don't care if he's 99. If he's still winning, he loves being. I mean, how can you not love him?
Oh
It's just,
yeah.
yeah, he's not always gonna. I mean, you could question. Everybody could play armchair quarterback, right? But you're not the one
True.
making those decisions.
True. Yeah.
You're going with. He has a good mix of analytics and the feel. I don't think he would have taken Greinke out of Game 7.
No. There you go. Yeah. He's like
That's why
he.
people are like, Hitch, Hitch, Hitch. I'm like, Hitch took Greinke out.
He
I,
did.
I, I
He
was,
did.
I was at that game, and
Wow.
I was literally like,
You could have seen him win. You could have. Ah.
we thought. I mean, he was just dealing. I mean, I don't know if you remember Juan Soto walked, and that's when Juan Soto walked because he's doing the slide, which. Dude, I would die for Juan Soto, but at the time I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I hate this dude,"
Oh
But he
man.
walked, and and it wasn't like, Harris I don't know if you watched that pitch. I watched that pitch 1,000 times. That was a well executed pitch.
Mm-hmm.
He just better hit. So people were just like, but yeah, I probably would have left or go with Cole. But then at the end of that game, my opinion on Cole kind of changed. I was like, did he? I don't know how you felt
Yes.
about that. I was like, oh, dude.
Cole, the spider tack was his greatest asset.
I mean, he's amazing. I mean, dude, you're not going to beat
Still.
2019 team. Like, that was, think about that team.
Seriously,
That
Morton.
team was just amazing. I mean, you would have, I remember going to those games and it was just like clockwork. Verlander's going to get you to the seventh. Then there's Presley and Osuna. Done. Game over,
Done.
like, I
Game
mean, we
over.
just
Yeah.
had, I mean, then you have Cole and it's
And
like,
then
get you,
Charlie
same
Morton
thing.
too. Yeah.
Charlie Morton. I mean, we were so stacked. Springer, Correa, like, I love Pena, right? Like, but Correa's generational
Oh
talent,
yeah.
you know,
Seriously,
and
yeah.
I was like, how did we lose? But it just people will keep asking about trade deadline, and I'm like, pitching wins these games. Nationals, that
Yeah.
was the pitching, it's Braves pitching. Yes, I understand Jorge hit that to the moon. I was at that game too, sitting right next to Braves fans. That
Jorge
that
Soler.
was terrible. And he
Oh,
hit that to the moon. I was like, and I don't know if you remember, like it was open.
the roof, yeah.
I was like, and it was a 3-2 pitch, almost out of it, kind of
Uh,
like it was last night. Boom, but
Man, so you got to see two teams that weren't the Astros win the World Series right in front of your face.
yeah,
Wow, that just
yes,
makes you want to see them win even more, right?
yeah, that's absolutely true. I
Uh,
mean, of course, I've seen a lot of like winning games, but I mean, that Braves game was just we were
yeah,
out of
Freddie
it.
Freeman hits a home
Nothing
run.
happened positively. We started
No,
off like Tucker made this outstanding play. It's we're like, okay, we had runners on, didn't score, and then yeah, once I was like, that's maybe one of the worst games I've been to.
oh
Even worse
yeah,
than the great because we were winning with in 2019. I still can't believe we lost that game.
I
Um,
know. The home team lost every single game
that's
that
that's
year.
that's
Uh,
insane.
it truly is home field advantage. I mean, That's just not that that was inconsequential at that point.
Right.
But man, yeah,
Right.
I've had a ton of awesome experiences on your part. So, um, uh, I guess as you were getting into baseball,
Mhm.
as you were starting to really become more of a fan of the sport, who became your favorite player?
Okay, my favorite player is Altuve. I mean, it's
Yes.
so easy
Yes.
to say that. I mean, he's the heartbeat of the
Oh
team,
yeah.
in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I loved Correa.
Oh
I was
yeah.
a massive Correa fan. That I think I
Yes.
cried. I think I cried that whole day. Because I mean, you
Yeah.
remember Maloney was tweeting, and I was like, oh yeah, like I hate free agency because
Yeah, the
it's
buy
I hate it.
time, you
I
know.
hate it. Well, no, I just hate like just the anticipation. Are you getting? Are they? It was just too much. But
I know.
I would have to say it's obvious it's Altuve, but I mean, right behind Altuve would be Kyle Tucker. My dog's name is Kylie Tucker, so
That's odd. There you go. No resemblance at all,
I
right?
love Kyle Tucker. I love Kyle
Oh,
Tucker.
and you know what?
Like a quiet hero.
He
No,
Yes, he is. And
quiet
you know
hero.
what? I will take if money wasn't a factor at
Hmm.
all, obviously you want Soto. Soto is a
Right.
top 3 player in the game. His WRC plus, he's being compared to people like Ted Williams
No, he's
and
amazing.
he's
Amazing.
amazing. His on-base
Amazing.
percentage is
But
it
his
massive.
price, I mean, I
Yes.
don't know if you saw what they're asking
5 for
4 or 5 times.
1, you
And
know.
taking on those 2 contracts, those was it Corbin's I'm like, I just don't think that's gonna happen for us. Who do you think's gonna get? I mean, do you think the Yankees or I
Juan
know that they
Soto.
yeah.
Um, well, before I give my speculations on Soto, what I was gonna say is I would rather have Tucker over Soto any day, and here's why. Tucker is one of the most underrated players in baseball, and
Right.
he's not gonna break the bank. The fact
Hmm.
that we extended Alvarez, I get giddy every time I think about it.
Oh, like for so cheap.
We lowballed
So
him,
cheap.
but he signed it. It's his decision, and I feel like I hope we can do that with Tucker because
There's a lot to
yeah,
say with where you're comfortable. Maldi took less money to come here. He wanted to play here.
yeah,
Um, I think, there's no problem with getting as much money as, obviously like Cole, Craig, getting as
yeah,
much money as, but there are players that, they're comfortable,
yeah,
and for them, I mean, $100 million to like,
yeah.
I want to say and I think with Jordan, I think that's probably what factored in for him is just getting that contract and knowing I'm taking care of my
Security.
family. Yes, my family is
Yes.
taken care of. You know, like uh, I think the same thing. Right now to me, and also another person I love is Framer. I
Yeah,
love his
for
story. I love, uh, you know, he always had like such great things, but he walked better. He kind of would lose it, and I don't know if you know this about him, but he got with a therapist, with a sports therapist, and to work those things out. And he just looks like a little kid up there. It's just having a lot of fun. But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think that Soto is going to be too much, and
yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't know who. I don't even know if the Nationals are. I mean, the fact that he turned down what 400
And
was it?
$40 million, it would have been the largest contract in MLB history, but the average annual value is very, very low. It's lower than Cole, obviously Correa. It's very low. There's like 10 other people who have higher AAVs above Juan
What's your
Soto.
opinion on why you think he turned it? Does not he wants to be playing on a winning team?
Uh,
Tired of
mm,
losing? Tired of getting walked?
They won in 19. I mean,
Yeah, but
so he has his World Series victory. I don't know. It might just the Washington Nationals are about to get new ownership. And
Mhm.
so the Nationals want a clean house. When new ownership comes in, they want a clean house and build from the ground up. So you can
Mhm.
respect them for that. But some people are fixated on AAV. Correa was fixated on AAV.
Mhm.
They want to continue to break the barriers, and because
Right.
they set the standard, because whatever the new standard is, that's what people are chasing. Correa was chasing Lindor. He was
Lindor.
chasing Rendon even.
Right.
That guy's massively overpaid, but they keep trying to bring it up because it's a rising tide lifts all boats. Because if they can
Mhm.
raise the AAV, then it's like that's the new standard. I want to break that,
Right.
and it's the players from now on, since the birth of free agency, they are going to continue to get more of a slice of the pie, truly what they truly deserve. And we have free agency. I don't know if you know. Have you Do you know how MLB free agency came about?
Not no.
No,
Mm-mm.
there were so baseball had for the longest time it had this thing called the reserve clause,
Mhm.
meaning you were stuck on a team and the owners all got together and they said, "We are going to just own our players. We can
Okay.
trade them willy nilly, but they cannot go on the free market." And they all did that for their mutual gain because their
Right.
salaries were pitifully low.
Mhm.
So they just like, "Oh, I'll trade you here. Oh, I'll trade you there. I'll trade you here. Okay, you're gone." And
Mhm.
free agency was never a thing. They were able to keep their salaries really, really low because there wasn't competition and the owners got everything. And one day, Kurt Flood, a really good player, they were going to trade him just like they trade all the other players. And he's like, "Nope. I'm not going to let you do this." And they're like, "No, I mean, you're on the team. I'm trading you to another team. This is how it works." So like, it's like, "Nope, I'm not going to be treated like property." And
Wow.
so they ended up taking them to court. Went all the way to the Supreme Court. Marvin Miller created the Players Association, and they fought for free agency. And the long story short is they won, and it's all because Kurt Flood, a
Wow.
black man, sacrificed
That's
his
amazing.
career. He
That's
sacrificed
awesome.
his career, and
I
now
didn't know that.
so you were under ownership from the team indefinitely, but then they fought just to get 6, 7 years, and
Right.
after 6 and 7 years, you can finally become a free agent.
Right.
So instead of being completely messed up, it's a little more fair, but in my opinion, it's still messed up because
It's
I
still
mean,
messed up. And I think that Springer was upset with the Astros.
yes, service time manipulation.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
they did it to Alvarez. He was clearly ready to go up to the big leagues. Like, no, he has to work on
Right.
whatever
What's
this
your thoughts on Hunter Brown?
Hunter Brown.
Do you think that he's gonna get called up? You think we're gonna trade him?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if we traded him. I don't know. It's all these options that we have. Any team has. There are good options, but it's like, what is the best option? And the GM, they have to think, what are we doing? What is going to help me
Mhm.
now? What's going to help
Mhm.
me in the next 4, 5, whatever
Mhm.
years? It's really tough. The GMs, they're
Mhm.
not sleeping at all. This is
No.
the busiest time.
Well, and
Um,
especially because this
yeah.
year, they had the draft and the trade deadline. I don't, like back to, I mean, I'm sure that's, and then you have the fans that were like, we want Bell, give us, give us Luis Castillo. We want
Yeah.
everything. We want
Yes.
everything, which I think I would love to have just so that Yankees don't get on Luis because I know that they really, really want him. But I
Mhm.
mean, think about that lineup.
Yeah, seriously. But
That would be sick.
here's my things on the immediate. Last year we
Mm-hmm.
had the best offense in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
OPS, batting average,
Mm-hmm.
everything. This year is slightly different. We do have the best overall pitching in terms of bullpen, starting
Mm-hmm.
ERA, opposing OPS, opposing average. So it's the reverse, but our offense, it has all the potential in the world, but it has not lived up to it. And we
No.
keep saying it's like, oh, if the bats can get hot, if the bats can get hot, if the bats can get hot. Now, again, we're in a perpetual spoiled basis.
Right.
We're 64 wins. We have like a 12-game lead in the division, and I just don't think that's going to go away, barring a catastrophe. But think of Yearly Gurriel. Um,
Mm-hmm.
His contract ends at the end of this year. If we get Josh Bell, and worst case scenario, we're a little stacked on talent. We have too
Mhm.
many people that we know how to deal with. We have a 29-year-old. His numbers have been going up and up and up every single year. His batting average creeps from like 250 to 270 to 311.
Mhm.
And you're like, this guy's getting better and better and better and better every single
Mhm.
year. And he's insane. So it would be a good time to transition. I know it's tough. I went
Yeah,
to, yeah, he,
but
um,
I get it.
yes. So, but if we get another reliever, I mean, I'd be cool with that. I mean, because
Mhm.
it's just like you said, pitching wins championships.
Mhm.
Unless your offense can hit the broadside of the barn. I mean, the Brewers had an amazing pitching staff last year, and they didn't
Right, and
win.
they can hit. Like, I mean,
Yes,
I think oh God, who's their star? Like,
Corbin Burns
no.
for the Brewers.
They're the bat.
Christian
Yelich.
Yelich.
Same thing that happened with Bellinger. He kind of fell off. I know he got injured. And I do like
Yeah.
Yelich a lot, and I actually like the Brewers. But
Yeah, the
yeah,
Brew
it's
Crew.
yeah, no, they have you're right. They have really good pitching. I mean, um, the Braves, the Braves look really good to me right now.
Oh
Like
yeah.
people ask, like, "Oh, are you worried about that?" I don't worry about that until we get there. It's like, hey,
Yes.
let's worry about the ones. People are like, "You want to get the Yankees?" I'm like, no, I'd rather play the Twins than the Blue Jays. So, I mean, call me crazy, but I would rather the
Mm.
two series. I mean, I don't know if I want to play Blue Jays. We played them, and it's been tough.
Yeah, the Blue
I don't
Jays are
know
one of
how
those.
you're.
The blue teams are good on paper. The Blue Jays are good on paper,
Mhm.
and Kevin Gosman, Jose Barrios. I still think he's underrated. If his stuff's working, he's unhittable, and we don't have good
Mhm.
experience against him. Just
Right.
speaking just from experience. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just. Have you watched any of the Jeter documentary?
I have not yet, but I want
Yeah,
to. I want to see
yeah.
it. I know it's like a million parts. I just watched the Nolan movie, which I
Oh, how
loved.
was that?
It's amazing, and
Yeah.
um it's so good. It's
Oh,
really good, and you get more about how his wife was kind of the backbone, and told him
yeah,
not to give up, and um like, because my son throws really hard, and sometimes he can be wild. I'm like, Nolan Ryan was wild, like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm like, don't worry about that. You've got a great arm, and sometimes he gets some games. It's like he's unhittable, and others he's walking. He's just like sitting over there like
Is he righty or lefty?
he's a righty, but I'm lefty, which I wish that he was a lefty, but he's a righty. Yeah.
Hey, a solid righty. I
But I
mean,
love that part I didn't know some of, I didn't know quite a lot of it about him, but I loved it. What a great, I mean, I think they
oh
said
yeah,
that he threw like 108, 109, something crazy. Like, wow. And there was
he
this
sure
rumor,
did.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you knew that they thought that he got that arm from throwing a paper route with his dad for like, kind of find out he's like, we were in the car and I was throwing it with my other hand. So I thought it was really,
That's-
really good. But I do want to see the Jeter. Didn't the Astros pass him up?
they had the number one pick of
Hmm.
the draft that year, and man, I just saw the episode the other day, but I forget who we got, and I think that's the whole point. Is there were
Yeah.
4 picks ahead of the Yankees, and they
Hmm.
no one. He was the number one player in high school in the entire
Wow.
country, and they were getting college player, college, and then finally, the number one high school player in the country, the Yankees finally get him.
Hmm.
There's only 2 episodes. I'm only 2 episodes in, but I bring all that to say, and it goes back to us being spoiled. If you are a Yankee fan, you
Hmm.
win 5 national championships with
Hmm.
Jeter, including a three-peat where you win three
Right.
times in a row. If you're a Yankee fan in that time period, you feel like we're never going to lose. It's never going
Never.
to end, but it
Hmm.
does. And
Yes.
when
Well,
it
it does.
does,
It
it
has
does,
to. It
it
has
has to.
to.
And it
It
will
has to.
eventually end for the Astros fans. So you know what, Holly, we have to enjoy the hell out of it
Exactly.
for as
Exactly.
long as we
As we
can.
can. Yes,
Soak it
because
all up.
the haters are gonna love when we suck.
Oh, they
You know?
will. We will. It will happen.
Oh
But
yeah,
if
it happens to everybody.
Yes, we
happens
had
to them
to
all.
endure the 3 straight 100 loss seasons
Right.
in order to get to the time that we are now. There's a great book
Right.
out there called Astro Ball. Astro
Yes.
Ball.
I know
Yes.
exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Yes, and it goes into those key moments. It goes
Mhm.
into the Verlander trade. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna spoil it for you if in case you wanna read it, but, like, they could literally make a movie scene out of it. That's how intense and
I know he
dramatic it was.
decided like the last second.
The last
Like
second.
literally the last,
It
because did he want to go to the Yankees? Was it last year
I
or
can't
like
remember in the book, but he was agonizing about it, and you got the supermodel wife, Kate Upton,
oh
and they're
wow.
pacing around, and they're like, "Should I do it or should I not do it? Should I do it? I don't know." And
A
it's
friend of mine met her in Vegas and said
what?
she was the sweetest, but like goofy, just goofy and just herself. I was like,
Verlander's goofy, so the a match made in heaven.
right, right. And I was like, man, she's stunning and cool.
Yes.
He's just living the life, right? Throwing 99 in the seventh inning. He's amazing. He's
Oh
amazing.
my gosh, I love having that guy.
Oh, I love him. You could
It's
sit back. You could sit back, man. Yeah, Burley.
yeah,
And
you
that's
know,
kind of how I felt about Lance last year. It's just,
best year of
um,
his career so far, hands down.
yeah,
So when he got
yeah.
injured, it was ah,
I
it
know.
was painful. But looking forward to him coming back. He is pitching
I know.
for this evening. He's
And he's
coming
such a
back.
good. I don't know if you've seen his wife.
Oh yeah, these ball players.
I mean,
Mm.
she used to sit right next to, and I don't know if you saw Correa's wife, Daniela's, and Springer's, and I used to be like, dang. I tell my son, I like hit bombs and date models. Like, look over here,
There you go,
look
right?
over here. It's just stunning girls and so nice. I mean, when you see him in person, you're like, wow. But Lance is such a good dude too. Like he loves animals and stuff. I mean, just
I
can't help but like him.
know.
And I like how he kind of he'll talk back to people that say something. I think they said like something about to the Mariners, like, you know, something about him being hurt. And he's like, yeah, I could give you all a rest from kicking y'all's ass or something like that. It was awesome. I was like, there you go.
Oh
And he
man.
loves Houston, so like
Yeah.
I hope he can come back because I'm
Yeah.
just thinking Verlander, Framer, I mean, I'm sure he can't be a starter, but man, if we got Castillo,
Oh,
uh,
so are you're all more on the pitching's end of things for the trade deadline,
that's
right?
who I'd be more excited about, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
Um, because I mean that's stacked. Dude, that's stacked. I mean, and you got Javier, who's amazing. I mean, of course you would move some to the bullpen, but
Yes, if you put
that's
Javier in the bullpen, he can be like a long endurance bullpen arm. Where
hmm
if your starter just completely craps out after 3 innings, you're like, all right, I need someone to bridge the
he's like
gap.
one of the only pitchers that cannot throw a first pitch strike and get out of it. Like you look at that, and usually it's called like pitchability, right? And I was like 50% first, and he's just got such great stuff that he can get out of it. And last year he was the main big reason why we beat Boston. So
Seriously.
I
Yeah.
was I was at the game that Correa touched his watch, and
Yeah.
yeah,
What
we
time?
went nuts.
It's my
We were like,
time. That's
yeah, I was like, don't leave us. But I knew he
oh.
was gone. I knew
Y-
it. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, he has the highest AAV and good for him. The winter's gonna come and he's gonna be miserable, but well, no, he's not. But because the Twins are doing awesome this year, I am glad that he's on a contending team. And I
right.
really do think that he is making intangible differences. He is an
Yeah, he's a
ultra
captain.
competitor.
He's a
Yeah, oh
captain.
yeah. He's like the
That's
captain of the
that's
team.
why like I defend Maldonado a lot. He's a captain. He's a leader. And
Yes.
you have to have that. If you look at the Angels, and I talk about this sometimes, I love Mike Trout, not a leader.
True.
You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
they're lacking that person that's like, I don't know if you remember when Verlander came out of the dugout, I was like, let's go, like
Yeah.
got her like
In
pumped up. Like
2017. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you need those people, and that was great. I don't. You remember when he came out and talked to Framer and was like,
Yes.
who know? He said it in Spanish, but it sounded pretty stern, and it was like, let's go, And that's Maldi. That's Maldi. So,
Yes.
um,
The vocal leader. Now, there's
mhm.
plenty of non-vocal leaders like Altuve and stuff, but
Right.
who is filling the gap? And I think Bregman might be trying to fill the gap, at least from an outside looking in,
Hmm.
but Maldi's also
It's
there
Maldi.
too. Yeah. It's just
I mean, he has a father-son relationship with Framer. Well, Framer's not doing just the look he'll give him is like, you know,
come
just
on,
he was
kid.
yeah. I love see that's the thing you talk about game within the game. If you watch little things like that, you could see it, but just your every if you're not looking for it, you're not gonna see little things like that. Or
Yes.
but
Have
like
you yeah.
Framer's done a really good job. Also, like when he throws kind of a wild thing, he laughs it off. He's not getting caught up in his head.
Exactly.
Um,
Have you ever kept score during a baseball game before? Do you even
and
know?
like in you talking about the like a professional game or like for my for like game changer for my kid. I'm just kidding. I'm
No,
talking,
no, no, no,
you're
no.
talking about professional game.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no. So no, I'm talking about this is what people sometimes do is they
I see it.
bring
I see them. I see them do that.
where they're writing
Yeah.
the results of every play, where it's
Right.
like F6. I mean, every position player has a number, so it's pitcher,
Right.
catcher, first, second, third,
Hmm.
shortstop, left, right, center. So those are
Right.
all the numbers.
Yeah.
And if it's F6, he flew out to the shortstop, or if
Hmm.
it's something like that. So I've never done it, but that's a good way to be engaged in the games. Like you're
Hmm.
documenting the game. This person did
Hmm.
this, and so it's one way to kind
Hmm.
of condition yourself to pay attention to the
Right.
game because.
Right.
We had a guest on here who's been on here several times, and he does that for every single game. Every game,
I
he's got
love
the
that.
sheet out, and he's like,
That's
"Okay,
my friend Felix. Like, if you want to know anything
yeah,
about their defensive runs saved, um, like first pitch strike, I mean, that's him. He knows
hmm
it all. I'm like, you are literally like one of the smartest people that I've been like just truly like those analytical people that just dive into the numbers. Um,
hmm yeah."
when I'm at the game, I'm either sometimes I'm nervous, or I probably I don't want to miss something, so I feel like maybe I'd miss them. But that I could definitely see how you could learn a lot. Like I think when I'm at home, I can look at that stuff more. Like,
yeah,
but when I'm at the game, you know,
yeah. You want to be
I
absorbed in
have
the moment and
yeah.
focused, and
Yeah. I mean, I'm over
yeah,
there fist pumping Dusty at you, like we're buddies. I'm just like, don't
yes.
worry about it, Dusty.
Don't worry about it. That's so awesome.
You
I'm so
got this. Oh, dude, I was like so pumped. Like little things like that will just make my whole life. My friend makes
yeah.
fun of me. He's like, okay.
Yeah, I got to talk to Brent Strom,
Oh, that's awesome.
one time, and again, bring a little 3-month-old to a baseball game, they will be a people magnet. The
Oh, I
the people
bet.
don't give a crap about us adults, but when you bring a little
Yeah.
baby in a
Hmm.
baseball onesie with an Astros bib, it's gonna bring
Dude,
everybody
you're
over.
brave. Every time I see little kids there, I'm like, these people are brave.
Yeah, he lost sleep that night,
That's
but
so
he's made up
cute.
for it because
Oh,
the result was I got an Altuve signed ball,
that's
and
awesome.
Brent Strom, our pitching coach, which I think he left our team in good hands. He's happier. He's
Yeah.
in Arizona. He's 2 hours away from
Hmm.
where he lives, so I'm glad for him. But he was walking towards the bullpen, and he looks over and he texts again, and he sees the kid, and he has this huge smile on his face, and he
Oh,
just starts making a dead line straight towards us. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my
that's so
gosh, oh my gosh,
cute.
he's coming. And we talk for like 2 minutes,
That's so
and he
awesome.
takes my son's hands and he starts playing with them, and he's like, we got to make this kid a lefty.
Oh, I love that. That's
It
so cool.
was so we've had experiences where you with Dusty, me with Brent Strom. It's just those are the
And
moments.
Correa. Courageous doing
Yeah.
that in front of all those people.
Those are the moments
Um,
that make you a fan for life.
oh, like, yeah. I mean, he literally just goes, points to me, like, you want a picture? I didn't even ask. You want a
Yeah.
picture? I'm like, do I want a picture?
Yeah.
Let me knock this girl's food out of the way. I'm coming over. It was so my son was like, "Mom, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen." Like the fact that
Yeah.
he came over is really cool. And they don't have to do that. They don't have to, but that makes that truly, like you talk about, like kid, that'll make you a fan for life. Like, I mean, your son's
Yeah.
too young to remember that, but there are kids that wait, wait for Altuve's always signing, like,
He always signs, yeah.
that's
Hmm.
just a true gentleman. How
Yeah.
what's your son's name?
His name is Teddy.
Okay. Oh, it's a cute name.
Yeah,
It's a cute name.
and I'm gonna go. I mean, that ball's his. I'm gonna go ahead and let. I'm no, no, I'm not, no. I mean, I'm gonna let him have it because
Yeah.
I mean, Altuve probably wouldn't have come over if my son wasn't there. But
Oh.
and so I mean, he's my favorite current player. My favorite player
Mhm.
of all time is Craig Biggio.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That
Craig Biggio.
man, he is the most selfless player ever.
Mhm.
I'm drawn towards the selfless players
Yeah.
because Craig Biggio was like, "You tell me where to play, and I'll play it." So
Yes, and he'll
he
play wherever.
he started off as a catcher, but he's like,
Mhm.
"Hey, you need me to play a second? I can figure it out. I'll do it."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just so awesome. So yeah, well, what are some of your favorite things to do besides baseball?
Okay, so I love cards. So I love spades. I love poker. I like to gamble that way. Like I said, I love poker
Mm,
just because again, you know, it's it's a game of pretending you have something when you don't. and
there
and
you
when you
go.
do, yeah, when you do, and like people don't understand like that also is very analytical, very, it's about the
The
numbers and stuff.
odds.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about the odds and numbers. And one of my favorite movies is Rounders, because he, I don't know if you watched it when he turns the order, he's like, pay that man his money. Have you ever seen it? Rounders?
No.
Oh,
No.
oh, you've got to watch it. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
so awesome. Anyway, so you won't get that, but it's a poker movie. I love
Hmm.
basketball. I love
Yeah.
coaching. Um, let's see. So like I coached my daughter this year. I don't know if you know who Jonathan Joseph is. He's played for the
That.
Texans. Him and
Yeah.
his wife and I are really good. His daughter was on my team. We won the
Nice.
championship by 2 points.
Yeah. 2 point.
That was, yeah, that was cool. And when I coached my son, like when he was young, I was the only female coach. And
Nice.
we went undefeated. SBMSA over here, uh, won 2 championships with him. I think it was the only female to ever win in the boys division. So then we started the select team called the Houston Problems. I started with a good
Hey.
friend of mine named Drew Gonzalez that's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame at HBU. He's amazing.
Wow.
We've coached together for years.
Hmm.
And we started this team and they're great. Like, we it's just so much fun. So much fun. Like
Hmm.
since can't play anymore. And my son has finally gotten to the point where he can beat me.
There you
Which is
go.
hard. Which is hard. But yeah, I love that. I love let's see, what else do I like to do? I mean, I like working out, which I know sounds kind of silly, but
Hey, it's good for your health.
yeah, 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 like
Yeah.
doing that. And let me think, what else do I like doing? I like any games. I'll play any game,
There you
whatever.
go.
Yeah,
Board games.
board game, any game. I don't care. I play spades online. Those people are vicious on there,
Oh
but
man.
yeah.
I
So
bet.
I'm kind of a homebody. Like I don't really drink a whole lot. You
Yeah.
know, I enjoy being home. I have 3 dogs. I was raised on a farm in Winnie,
There you
so I
go.
love animals. Um, yeah.
There you
Can't think of
go.
any. I'm trying to think of anything else I enjoy doing.
That's those
Hanging
are
out, yeah, hanging
that'll
out with
occupy your
friends.
time, all
And you
that.
know what? Honestly, might sound cheesy, but I have met some of the coolest people on Twitter,
Yeah.
and that are like, I really do feel like are good friends. I mean, I know Twitter can cesspool, and yes, of course, you get the DMs, and I guess I welcome that with with the bikini thing. So I had a couple drinks that day. I'm not gonna lie. So
There you go.
I'm
Hold my
assuming,
beer. You know.
right. But in general, there are some really, really awesome people on Twitter to
Oh
be,
yeah.
and you really feel like they're your friend, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And when you meet him at a game,
Yeah.
it comes to life. You
I
know.
mean, that Astros girl, Cherie, she's the sweetest
Oh
person. I
man,
don't
I
know if
can't.
you've
Yeah,
ever.
I can't wait
She's
to meet her. Yeah.
she's a doll. She is an
Oh
absolute
yeah.
doll. Like, and I'm big, like, um, women supporting other women. I mean, she's the one
Yeah.
that was like, "Why are y'all not following, Hayes Holly?" And I was like, she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to do
Yeah.
that. Which, anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, this is,
That Astros girl is truly one of the best among us. And
oh, she's an angel. She's literally an angel. So I got her tickets to the Yankees game, like, by me. And she's run down and was like, yeah, I was like, oh my God, and my friend that was there with me, he wanted to meet her so bad. He's like, you got to introduce me to her. I was like, I got to introduce myself to her. We just knew each other on Twitter.
yeah, seriously.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if you know, his handles like Houston Wheelhouse.
H Town Wheelhouse.
Yes, 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 yes. So I
Yeah.
got him tickets too. He came down and talked to me.
Yeah.
Um, so, and there was a girl that I met, and she was like, "You're real. I didn't think you're real." I'm sure there's like catfish stuff out there. So she's like, "I didn't know you're." And it's just so cool. I'm just like, I'm just a regular person, like,
Yeah. No.
no, it was. But yeah, Astros fans are the best. They're the
Oh
absolute
yeah.
best.
I
So
know
yeah,
that's awesome. It's just, and it's so cool how y'all are really kind of advocating for female fans to just be in the game because baseball can seem kind of like a boys' club in a lot of
right.
respects.
Oh, when
Um,
men hear you talking about it, they're like, you know.
this person actually knows what they're talking about.
Right. I was talking about, it's so funny. I tweeted about Myers Swing, someone, and they were like, "Wait, aren't you the girl that was in the bikini? You really know your baseball?" And I was like, "Yeah, I watch
Yeah.
a ton of baseball, you know."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to meet other females, or females that support each other. Like
yeah.
this, talked about this teacher thing, like. There's primarily, it's a lot of women, and they've all been great. I like, people are like, have you had any negative? Yeah, not so far. Like,
No,
it's
yeah.
all been really positive.
N-
And
Yeah.
and
Teachers are
my
the
kids,
unsung.
yeah, my
Yeah.
son thinks it's cool. He's like, you're gonna be on a podcast? Like, what do they want to talk to you for? I'm like,
What?
shut up. I'm not ever gonna be
yeah.
cool enough for him. But
Oh, yeah, right. So exactly, but I mean, it's just like the teachers are the unsung heroes of this society. They're massively
absolutely.
underpaid, undervalued, under everything, underfunded
Hmm.
apparently, and that's
Yeah.
just so awesome how you're creating positive vibes like that. And it's just like your son can say, what did I want to talk to you about a podcast? Well, I mean, you're truly awesome, Holly, and it's
Oh,
just
thanks.
it's just it's been so much
You know
fun.
how kids are. You know how kids are.
Yeah,
Like,
they're never
he
gonna
gets
give you the
mad.
credit.
He gets mad if we go to games and I get carded. He's like, "You're my mom." Like, why? Like, I'm like, look, who
I'll
cares? Like,
take the
he's
wins
just,
when you can.
exactly. I'm like, he's probably has a card under 50. So just leave me alone and let me show my card and leave me alone. Yeah.
Let me
Uh,
enjoy
Yeah.
this one little moment.
Yeah. True.
the
Let me have
yeah,
this.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, but it is cool to see females just speaking intelligently about the game, which is why it drives me nuts. Are you aware of who Katie Nolan is?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
You know where I'm going with this, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't follow her, and there was a tweet that and for some reason I think I had like settings, some sensitive settings on like on Twitter that not necessarily like that I couldn't see her tweets, but it's like Twitter was protecting me from that. So I changed it. I was like, why is this showing up sensitive? So I didn't really see what she said, but I saw the responses. Yeah, so she drive you nuts.
No, it's just she was not talking. She wasn't adding anything to the conversation. And I think that's the
Hmm.
bottom line. And I made a tweet about it that semi got a little bit of attraction on it because, and the point that I was driving is, it is a shame because there are females out there. I can name several right off the bat: Melanie Newman, Jessica
Hmm.
Mendoza, Sarah Langs.
Yes,
There
Jessica
are,
Mendoza.
yeah, there are women who know the game of baseball and they
Know the
can speak
game.
intelligently about this. But when you have this
Hmm.
Apple TV garbage where Katie Nolan, she's not adding any value to it.
No.
She's treating it like it's almost like an entertainment show. And it's just like,
Right.
she is not representative of women like yourself who could go up
Yeah.
there and you can actually comment on what's happening.
Yeah.
And but but it is awesome because there was like an all woman baseball broadcast last year. It was the first time in history, and
That's
it
awesome.
was great. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like, you don't it helps when you play the game, but you can still learn about it. And I think you're case in point to that, Holly. I mean, because
Hmm.
you haven't seen 98-mile-an-hour fastballs, but you mean you know the game probably better than I do. So,
No, no, no,
and
no, no, no.
no, no, no. I
I'm
mean,
still, that's what I love about it because is you're constantly learning, You're
yes,
constantly learning the game and you never truly have it all figured out. And that's what's so great.
yeah. What do you think MLB can do differently, if anything, to appeal to a broader female fan base?
Hmm. Man, you know, that's hard because I think it starts young if females are play sports,
Yeah.
I think it all depends on I was talking to my old high school coach, and he was talking about how there has been a huge drop in the amount of girls that play basketball or play, and he wasn't just talking in his school. And there's still obviously a lot, but
Hmm.
I do think sometimes if you have that sports background, then that obviously helps because you enjoy sports and stuff like that. But I do see a lot of women at the games that are into and enjoying. They might not get it all, but
Hmm.
there's people like sure that Astros girl, and there's another girl. I don't know. It's Moxie,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Moxie.
Hmm.
She knows her stuff too. I
Yeah.
try to follow as many women that I can to, because you do learn, you do through them. But as far as MLB is concerned, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Because like you said, typically baseball has been about men, you know.
They play. I mean,
There's women breaking through in coaching. Um, I personally know from coaching boys and coaching girls, girls pick up things a little bit. You can tell a girl one
oh
time you
yeah.
set a screen, set the screen, da da da, and I've coached boys that I've gone over the same play about 50 times, and they still mess it up, and you're like,
Seriously, yeah.
you
Come
know,
on.
what do you not get about this? Whatever, but yeah,
Yeah, I know
I
it's a tough question, but it's
it's yeah, it's really tough. I think you either love it or you hate it. Either you love baseball, you talk to, oh, I love baseball, or some people are like, but there's a lot also, I talked about like the youth and the moms, and the dads there, and the moms know just as much
oh
because
yeah.
we're sitting through, I mean, this summer, I mean, ballpark, I'm gonna say 50 games, right? That you're just sitting, you're in the heat, and you get it. You're all talking
Mhm.
about like, oh, why do you go with this guy? Why is this kid in? Or it's time to take him out, or like, okay, this batting, this we think this batting order, this is who, we all play that game, right? Um, so there are a lot of females that enjoy the game, but you know, I know MLB's trying. I know that they're, put the runner on, like, shorten the games, uh, you know, messing with the balls, all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think the game is fine just the way that it is. But
true. Yeah.
I mean, that's just me. I'm a baseball girl, so
Yeah, I
it's
know.
hard.
So, I
I'm like,
mean,
well, I don't get why not everybody, I
yeah, I
don't
mean,
understand it.
yeah, we're the diehard fans. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
And female representation, I think that is going to go a long way. What I also think is, and this,
I don't mean to cut you
yeah,
off,
yeah,
but I will say this: the youth ball needs to get more, like, it's too expensive. You know what
true
I mean?
that
It's too
not
expensive.
everybody can afford it.
It's a
Hmm.
very, I don't know what is the most expensive sport for youth to play. It has to be. I mean, I mean, I want to say that we're on our third wooden 300, $250 bat. You think about the travel expenses.
Yeah,
It just all adds up. And so your everyday family, good kids out there that just can't afford it, so
yeah,
that to me could grow the game, because it's become, and I think that soccer's had the same issue where it's gotten too expensive, where it's just all about these, and also, do I think it's fair that USA Prime flies in all these different kids to these tournaments that's from all over and they're playing against local kids? Do I find that fair? No. Do I think that, you know what I mean?
yeah.
There are some programs that truly just care about winning now. They don't necessarily care about development. You're seeing overpitch kids having arm problems at 14 and 15 because they're overpitched. So you have to be
Yeah,
careful what organization for youth that you join.
yeah.
You got to make sure that the coach understands it's not just about today. It's about, like, I want my kid not to have Tommy John when he's 18, or
Seriously, yeah.
I want him to develop. I don't want, my son plays center. He'll some infield, but he likes center field, left field to right field, play pitcher, because you want them to develop. And I think you just got to be careful, because I'm not going to name any programs, but there are specific programs that really are just about winning tournaments, and that don't make any sense to me. And you got these super teams that are flown. I mean, you're just like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Indiana. I'm from Michigan. And it's like they don't even know each other. They don't even
Wow,
know each other. And
wow.
yeah, so
It's a whole nother world
it's a whole
there.
nother world. So
Yeah,
I do think that they could do a better job at, you could think of tournament fees,
yeah,
all this, yeah. Then you got to get hitting coaches and pitching coaches, and I mean, my son has like a wonderful trainer that trains a lot of pro athletes. Dos Kango. He's got Capella and Harden, and But again, that's $150 a session. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, man.
you could.
Yeah,
I think that's just one area. Make it more where more kids can play.
there you
Even
go.
even over here in SBMSA, the Spring Branch Memorial Sports Association, um, it's kind of, sometimes it can be about money. I'm one of the commissioners on the league, and we're always talking about, like, how to go to game, how to, you know, allow these lower income areas to play in Spring Branch,
Yes,
and I just think in any
invest.
sport,
Yeah.
in any sport, right, right. I mean,
Hmm.
that's where you see, like, a lot of the international kids, or international players, like where we've found Framer and Luis and Yuli and Altuve. And Altuve play with one ball. It's like there are some talent out there, and it doesn't. It shouldn't matter how much money you have if you want to play the game. So
True.
that's a
Yes.
long. That's a long.
But no, no, no. I mean, I think you're getting it at the core, and I think that's going to reap long term benefits.
Hmm.
Instead of just addressing the here and now, trying to be more great, gain a larger social media presence, which that can help in the immediate. But
Hmm.
this is the stuff where you invest. You're not going to see the return on an investment for several years, but it will show if the investment
Mhm.
happens, and
Mhm.
underserved areas, low income areas, just allowing them to have legitimate experience where they can have a safe place to play, and they can learn. And I mean, you can learn so much from sports. You learn about work ethic, you learn about how to push yourself, learn
Mhm.
about how to push your limits. So, and baseball is just one of many sports where you can
And
learn
you
all
shouldn't
that.
have an edge because you have the new $400 Buster Posey bat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this
Yeah.
stuff gets ridiculous, right? You're just like,
Hmm.
or custom. I mean, I think we custom did one this year and had his name on it and all this stuff. And it lasted 2 tournaments and it broke. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You know what I mean? I was like, you've got
Yeah.
to be kidding me. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they can definitely do that. One thing a- a- and I don't understand why we've made it like this, but there is, and this exists in this country. There is women's baseball. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you actually watched it?
Mm-mm. I like
There
watching softball.
True, and no knock against softball. That takes a lot of athletic prowess, but it exists. There are, I think there might be college age or young women playing actual overhand baseball, and so it's like, and again, I'm not taking anything away from softball, but why in the world can we not make it a a alternative option where women can play overhand? You're throwing the baseball like this, and
But isn't it, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it a more natural movement the way they did? Like, that's the reason why they can pitch multiple games, like 100, like, because they're
it might
underhand and they're not,
it might be,
it's more like
but
torque on the arm.
yes, there's probably a lot of validity to that. But at
Mhm.
least if we can give women the option to
Right.
play actual baseball, they are
Like a league
playing.
of their own.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
playing the the game, and there's a whole lot of similarities between the two. But at least in that respect, it's
Yeah.
we're playing overhand baseball, same dimensions, and it's
Hmm.
just I might be banking too much on that, but I think maybe softball could be an alternative. But I want
I
to.
think it's awesome that you think that more women should be involved. I think that says a man that says stuff like that support. I mean, it's awesome. You know.
It's just because we've interviewed people on the show, and the mother influences on baseball are just as strong, if not as stronger as men. It's like sometimes it's the grandmother or the mother
Right.
who's the diehard fan, and they
Hmm.
kind of bring everybody in. It's just like y'all are gonna be Red Sox fans or
Yeah.
Cardinals fans,
Right.
and they're very integral because a lot of baseball is word of mouth. It gets passed on from
Hmm.
mother to children, father to
True.
son, and if we
True.
ignore half the population, that's not going to go well.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So a long way of saying we have to appeal to everyone, and not just boys clubs. And it's not just. It doesn't have to be super analytical. There are
Right.
you can go all into the analytics because of Moneyball and stuff. And if you want to experience the game that way, that's great. But you can also take several steps back and just enjoy when cool stuff happens.
Hmm.
Home run. I mean,
Yeah.
triple. So yeah. Last question for you,
Hmm.
Holly, as we wrap up. What are your predictions for the Astros this season?
Oh wow. I think this depends on the trade deadline. I think this depends on if we get Lance back. If I'm assuming that that's going to be more bullpen. I mean, I don't know how many. It does concern me how long that's taken to heal on his arm. So I'm hoping that if we this is all ifs. If like you was talking about Bell or I think I posed this question the other day, like who people wanted. I
Yeah.
just was bored. I was like, hey, who do I want to the trail? Because I like to learn from other people.
Yeah.
But I think that that'll make a big difference because if you think about like the Yankees and say they add those pieces that they're missing, that's a dangerous team. That's a
Hmm.
dangerous team. You got Judge and Stanton and I mean Rizzo, LeMay. I mean, those are all absolute studs. They're missing some pieces. If they add those, then that changes a lot. It changes a lot of, it, I think it's either going to be us or the Yankees. Um, And then on the other side, I mean, I'm gonna go with either Dodgers or Braves. That's my
Okay.
that's
So
that's that's my prediction. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Mets. If Max can stay healthy, I don't know
DeGrom's coming
when
back.
yeah, if again if he can stay healthy, that's you have Sale that came. I felt so terrible. Had Sale come back and break his finger. You just never
Yeah,
know.
for
I
the
mean,
Red
that's
Sox.
you just have those. Um, again, this whole Brantley thing is kind of, you know, uh, do we think he's gonna? There's a lot of people that
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna come back. That hurts. That's
Seriously, yeah.
He's got one of I think he's turned the sexiest swings I've seen. It's just
Seriously, professional
oh
hitter.
oh dude, it's just so I love. It's just effortless. His head stays so still. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so perfect. It's like it's Jordan. It's Jordan. Same thing. Um,
Mhm.
so I mean, I think there's some things up in the air. I think if we have discussion after deadline, I might can have a better prediction. But
Yeah, yeah. We're the trade deadline's a week away, and a lot can
mhm,
happen between now and then.
right.
I think, regardless, the stars are aligning for the Astros Yankees to have an
Oh yeah.
ALCS, and
Oh, for sure.
I can't wait to beat them again.
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean,
the Yankees have an
just
Astros
like
problem.
just like their coach said that I forgot what they call it exactly verbatim what he said, but it's talking about like, we got to beat the beast or we got to beat, I forgot exactly what he said, but I think we're in their heads.
Yeah.
But again, if they add some pieces, that's a dangerous team. It's a dangerous team, very good team.
Hmm.
Can't take anything away from Judge. He's a Jordan. You know.
Seriously. Yeah. I think there's something different about the Mets, although the Braves, they've caught up. I mean, they're 2.5 games back.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know about their pitching. It's starting to
Right.
dial in more, but
Hmm.
I mean, they did have a rough start this year. The Dodgers are always stacked,
Yeah,
and
I think I mean if my gut's saying Dodgers, you know,
yeah, it's like
talk about spoiled.
it's tempting to not pick them. They
Right.
blew past the luxury tax threshold. They're the only team that has blown past the luxury tax
Yeah.
threshold. Their owner doesn't care. He thinks money grows
Hmm.
on trees, and for him,
Yeah, I don't care.
it basically does. Everyone else is trying.
He's like me with the teachers list. He's like, oh.
Hey, yeah, a bleeding heart.
Right. Yeah. He just wants to
Yeah.
win. He just wants to win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they won a Mickey Mouse World Series. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, this the
You said it. I don't want Dodgers Twitter coming after me. I mean, they could get kind of ruthless, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
if it's them.
Astros Dodgers
That would be
rematch,
so awesome.
and it would. Oh man, the stadiums would be
That's why some people
packed.
are like, oh, if you don't win the whole thing. See, I disagree with that. Yes, it stinks not to win, but when you're in the World Series, you're in the World Series. You know what I mean? You can't beat it. I mean, I think
Seriously.
I watched the strike them out, throw them out with the chest pump to that thunderstruck probably 100 times. It's like this the cool. I don't know if you watched it on Fox. He
Yes, it
just
was a
like
strikeout
it was
from.
like yes, but he like pumped and it was to the music and I was like, just can't beat that. I mean, that wasn't World Series, but that was the game. I mean, that was and then just
Where
the
we.
reaction, the Correa reaction, the Graveman reaction, and the Maldi reaction was just it was
Oh
just
man.
amazing. So just getting there, yeah. I mean, it sucks to lose it, but I don't care what anybody says. You want your team in the World Series, even if they
Yeah.
lose. Yeah.
I picked the Blue Jays to win the whole thing at the beginning. It was a sexy pick, and
Hmm.
I'm halfway regretting it. Although you can never tell because once the playoffs start, it's like you start at zero. Like it doesn't
Exactly.
matter anything that
And it's
you've done
whatever team
before.
gets hot. I mean, look at the
Seriously,
Nationals. Like, no, they were wild card. I mean,
yes,
Even the Braves. I mean, it's just who gets it hot, who's healthy at the right time.
yeah,
Just never know.
exactly. I still do think the Astros have it, and I have high expectations for them. I think they will make a sixth straight ALCS at the bare minimum. and I think they have just as much of an opportunity to win the whole thing as any other team. They're too
Agreed.
stacked. We're
Hmm.
gonna get someone, at least one
Yeah.
person during the trade deadline. So,
I
and I'm
love the
just,
way that Click's talking. I like you can tell
oh
he's
yeah,
because Astros keep everything close to the vest. They're not when you could tell with the Correa talks, they're like, you could tell it was not going to happen.
yes,
But
it's the poker game,
hmm
right?
I
Mhm.
don't know if you remember. I remember watching. I was watching MLB Network, and it was 2009 when we got Greinke, and I was like, it's over.
It
we,
was awesome.
yeah, I was like, what? So I'm hoping that something like that happens. I mean, I'm hoping
We
that we're
will.
all like, yeah.
I know the at least for the trade deadline, there is an end date. Free agency, it drags and it drags
Mm,
and it drags, and
yeah.
you're like, oh, just go already.
Especially if it's a Scott Boras client, you know that you're in for the
Oh,
long haul.
Scott Boras, that guy is just swimming in a pool full of money.
Right. Yeah. He's not hurting. He's not
he,
hurting.
he ain't hurting. Well, yeah. Well, you ain't hurting, Holly, either. You're
Thank,
awesome. This was so
thank
much
you.
fun.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining
That was
us.
awesome. All right. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. Go
yeah,
Astros.
yeah. Go Astros. We'd love to have you on again. So
Anytime.
there you go. All right, yeah. Thank you all for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
Tune into the show week after week, and we will see y'all next